Welcome, everyone. I hope you are all well. It is time for another episode of It's Time We Talk. My name is Christian Maldonado with Real Rap Entertainment. It is officially WrestleMania season as we are just a few days away from WrestleMania 42 live from Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. A special event like this calls for a very special guest, and today I have my good friend and colleague JP Bonilla with me. Say hello.
Hello, what's good, everyone? I'm
For
happy to be
those
back here.
For those who are not in the know, JP is the president of Real Rap Entertainment and one of the most knowledgeable people on professional wrestling that I know. Today, we will be going through the card, discussing the build to this year's event, and how we see each of the matches going this weekend. Now, without further ado, get comfortable because we start now. Now, for years, they have always said that we are on the road to WrestleMania, and it seems like this year's road has been an especially bumpy one. I have told JP this already, but I have put each of the matches for WrestleMania 42 into three different categories for their build in the good, the meh, and the ugly. So I say let's start with the good. And one that I'm very much looking forward to because the build has been awesome. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. I mean, this one, two beefy guys slamming beef, and just I mean, the build to this one has been incredible. What do you think?
This one, this one's been insane. Like, I think, in my opinion, Chris, like, I think this is probably. Oh, actually, I don't know. I think this might have to be my favorite build of any match in WrestleMania this year. But I will say that Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre, which we will discuss later,
Mm-hmm.
is another one that I really like. I think they're both very close, but I think I have to give the edge to Oba Brock. They've built it up so well. The contract signing last week on Raw was just insane because obviously they didn't sign the contract. So it was like, it's just been, two beasts trying to go after each other. And, that's it's the type of spectacle that you love to see at WrestleMania. You have you have the original next big thing in Brock Lesnar, someone that people said, was gonna be, the next big star, and he was. He won it, the WWE title 8 months, like 6 months after he debuted it, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yep.
And now we have Obafemi, who a lot of people say that he is the next big thing right now. And honestly, so far, I mean, I've seen a lot of his NXT work and everything. I loved his NXT title reigns. I love his NXT North American title reign. He proved himself so much there, and I could buy it. If someone said he'll be WWE champion by SummerSlam or World Heavyweight champion, I could buy it, to be honest.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think he's got the formula for what makes a great superstar in this day and age. Somebody who's got the aura, somebody who's got, he's got the iconic walk, he's got the brute strength, and just like the physique, and also I feel like he's getting a lot of love and attention from the audience, which is always a good thing.
Hmm.
How many times have we seen a big colossus like him debut and they don't really get the credit from the audience that maybe they deserve? So it's good to see that he's, getting this kind of love, and people are really ready to see him in a big time match at WrestleMania like this.
And if I could add something too, it's like, I don't want to say, I think he has a higher ceiling than him, obviously, because, he didn't, I don't think this guy managed to accomplish much.
Hmm.
I mean, he accomplished a good amount, but not as much as he probably could have. But it kind of reminds me a little bit of Ryback in a way, where it's
Yeah.
like this guy, that's just, very muscular guy, huge power move set. He has a catchphrase and an entrance that gets you going and everything. Of course, like I said, Ryback, I really did think Ryback, I mean, I was also 12 at the time. I really did think he would have been at least a WWE champion. He did get the IC title, which is, that's very big as well and everything. But it kind of reminded me of that. Just, a Goldberg Ryback level type of guy.
Yeah.
I think Oba's gonna go further than Ryback though. I think he will be WWE champion one day. Hopefully if everything goes well. You never know with pro wrestling, but so far, I mean, with the way he's debuted in and the way they've had him, just kicking ass on Raw and SmackDown, it's been great.
All right. Now moving on to one that you've already mentioned, Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. I mean, this one has been months and months in the making. Um, there's been so many different things that have led to this match, an unsanctioned match, which I've never been a huge fan of the unsanctioned match in WWE just because I feel like they have so many different names for all the same match, but it definitely feels like this one is like they're out for blood, like they want to absolutely kill each other. And you've got the right amount of hatred and story to make this something that even for those who may not know who Jacob Fatu is, or the casuals who may only know Drew McIntyre from his first stint in WWE, it makes it really interesting. I like how they've handled it because there's been so many times where they could have fluffed this up. They could have messed up the build to this, and I feel like they've handled it pretty well for the most part.
Yeah. I well, here's one thing we also didn't mention too. Um,
Mm,
so about Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. Obafemi Brock Lesnar is going to be airing on ESPN, and here
true.
Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre. I didn't think this would be aired on ESPN proper,
Yeah.
but it's going to be airing on ESPN two in that first hour, um, which is awesome. Because it seems like with the ESPN blocks, like with Femi Lesnar and now this match, they're really showing off like, the powerhouses in this first hour. So that's pretty cool. Um I like I said, Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre is a feud that I've really enjoyed so much lately. The fact they just want to beat each other up and just I don't know, end each other's careers. I do agree with you about the unsanctioned match thing also. I will say I do okay, how do I put this? I do actually like the idea of the unsanctioned match. Like it
Mm,
is a pretty good concept, but it has to be done right, and I think AEW, I think NXT when Triple H was booking it, they did it right. Um I wonder if Triple H can book it correctly now. And what I mean by that is like, an unsanctioned match in pro wrestling terms, like in kayfabe, like yeah, it's a normal no DQ, no count out match, but the point of the match is that so this is a regular no DQ, no count out match, but it is not sanctioned by the WWE. So whatever happens if they get extremely hurt or even killed, like WWE is not liable for anything
yeah.
like that.
Yep.
And what AEW and NXT do is that they turn off the lights to signal that the show is not currently happening in kayfabe, and that match is um just kind of its own thing that happens to
Yeah.
be taking place on there, and the referees were in black, all that stuff, a different shirt. Um, I hope that we do get that same level of presentation. I hope that they amp up the fact that yeah, no, these guys, this is not a match that counts. Like this is something where we need to not have any liability
Yeah.
because these are two beasts that just want to destroy each other.
Exactly.
Um, and just to end it off, I do love that this match did get the ESPN two slot. Like I said, I didn't think that it would. I thought it was gonna go to like the women's world title match, or even Seth versus Gunther.
Hmm.
But to see they give it to Jacob versus Drew, that's pretty cool and everything. It shows that they have a lot of faith in Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre, to make WrestleMania like make people be like, oh, I want to get the ESPN app to watch the rest of WrestleMania. So that should be cool.
Sure. Going to this one, I thought about putting this one in either good or meh, just because the build to it has been fine, and I haven't minded at all. But I feel like they could have done maybe a little bit more with it. Maybe we can move it down to meh if you want to, and maybe as we talk
Yeah.
about it. I have Jade and Rhea.
You have that in
Jade
Matt
Cargill versus Rhea
or
Ripley.
what do you have in it again?
I have it under good, but I very much debated putting it in meh or putting it like a little lower down.
Okay. Um, in my mind, I I think I have more faith in this match than most people do. I don't know why. I feel like Jade Cargill. I I'll admit it. I'm a big Jade fan. She is pretty green, still, especially in this stage of career. She's been at it for 5 years now. Shoot, 5 years. Her AEW debut, in ring was 5 years ago when she teamed up with Shaq to face Cody Rhodes and Red Velvet.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I know a lot of people have complained that, she hasn't really improved. She's not really that good in the mic and everything. And I understand that. Um, what I like about her is her presentation, her character, but I feel like you could put this in meh because honestly the feud kind of sucks, if I'm gonna be completely
Yeah,
honest with you. I do like that they're trying at least to, make a stable for Jade, especially using B-Fab and Michin. um, but I don't know. I'm not really feeling this feud at all. It's not
yeah.
great.
I
But
I
I
feel like
do
there's too.
think.
Oh, sorry, I was
Oh,
just saying
sorry.
I just feel like there's too much emphasis on outside characters, like you said, BFAB and Michin as well as EO Sky. Like I feel like they could have spent more time on just Jade and Rhea, whether it be a promo, whether it be a brawl, something like that, something to get us a little bit more excited to see them in the ring together. That's just my
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree. And I again, we're gonna talk about this more later. But what you just said is the problem with some of these feuds at WrestleMania this year.
Yeah, and we're gonna we're ready to get into that.
Yeah. So can you still hear me, by the way?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. Sorry, but it's just like I don't know. I have a lot of faith in this match. Because I feel like when Jade has that right partner, she can have a great match. We've seen that a couple times. Like I thought she did great last year with Naomi. I loved all her matches with Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
When she faced Chris Statlander in AEW, she did a great job. And I think Rhea Ripley is a good partner to have. And I think Jade. Well, I think depending on the chemistry, I think they can pull off having a good match. But we'll see.
Yeah. And then the last one that I have in good is, of course, the one where I mean we've barely seen them touch each other, but boy, I mean two of the best guys on the mic in the business, just a verbal war of words against each other, and it's been so much fun, like to just see them obliterate each other on the mic, and that's CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I mean, where do you even start with this one? I would say this one's got to be up there with Oba Brock and Jacob and Drew for best build, just because I think it's really been the feud that has blurred the lines the most in terms of what's kayfabe, what's real life. Are they actually going at the character or are they going at the actual person? And it's been really fun to watch so far.
Yeah, this one's been pretty good so far. I do think the last 2 weeks, I feel like it hasn't reached the highs as the beginning and even the middle,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like it's still been a pretty good feud. I'm looking forward to it because you've seen a lot of history with both of them, like over the past. I don't even want to say like the past year, like a past decade. It goes all the way back to when the Shield debuted, and there's that whole history and everything. And then after that, you had the Colt Cabana podcast incident where CM Punk talks about making Roman Reigns look strong. So all of that stems from the feud stems from all of that. This goes way, 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 way
Yeah.
back. So with that in mind, I'm pretty excited. And then you had the stuff last year where They were feuding. It's just that they also had Seth in there, and they hated each other. But then they got along with each other for a little bit again. But then they hated each other again. So it's been a lot of hate. Okay, we'll work to go. Well, I can't speak. We'll work with each other, but we still hate each other. And then now it's just like, all right, I'm gonna beat you at WrestleMania. I'm gonna take your title
Yeah.
on, or I'm gonna retain my title. I'm going to expose you for the fraud you are. I like this feud a lot. I'm excited for this match. I think it's a great match to end the entire weekend for WrestleMania. I'm glad that it's getting that main event slot. Most importantly, I think this is great for also that title belt too, the World Heavyweight Championship. Um, this won't be the first time that the world heavyweight champion has main evented WrestleMania because Seth Rollins did team up with Cody Rhodes to face The Rock and Roman Reigns in that tag team match at WrestleMania 40 on that
Yeah.
Saturday. But this will be the first time that the WrestleMania main event features the current World Heavyweight Championship being defended. So it's this feud and this spotlight. I feel like it's gonna add so much to the prestige of that World Heavyweight Championship, because usually it's kicked off the show. Like last year, it kicked off WrestleMania Saturday with Gunther versus Jey Uso. The year before, it kicked off WrestleMania Sunday with
Yeah.
Rollins versus Drew. So I'm excited to see how this goes. And like I said, I think for the prestige of the World Heavyweight Championship, to make it more prestigious, this is the feud that it really, really needed the most.
I agree. I agree. I think, as you're saying, this you have the two of the biggest or the two biggest stars in the company right now, the two most famous names, and you just have them, at a war of words with each other. And while we've seen them go up against each other before, like in that the main event of Saturday last year, I just feel like this feels like something brand new. This feels like something I haven't seen before, and I'm excited to see the story that this match tells, because these are two guys who have great ability on the mic, but when they get in the ring, they have that ability to tell an equally good story on the mat. So let's see how this one plays out. It's got some very high expectations, and I mean, I am a little bit afraid of it not meeting those expectations, but I would be remiss to say that CM Punk and Roman Reigns can't put on a match that's worthy of being the best one at WrestleMania this year. Going into the ones that I thought were meh, there is one in here that I thought maybe we could swap with Jade and Rhea,
Yeah.
and that's Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan.
Okay. Yeah.
As
What
I
do you
was
think?
making the list, I made the list last night, and I thought about it more today, and I thought maybe Vaquer versus Liv deserves to be higher up, just because, again, I think this is one where you can feel the hate, you can feel the war of words, the like I said, the hatred that they have for each other. It really feels like it's heating up, and WrestleMania is it's one of those where it's like I don't see them facing each other again after WrestleMania. Like things need to come to a head at the biggest show of the year.
Yeah. I If there's one I do would swap it out with, it's definitely Jade Rhea. Like if you have to give me that choice, I would give
Yeah,
Stephanie Liv. I was surprised it wasn't a good because I think this has been a good feud. Both of them have been trading blows with each other, like verbally. It's just insane. And also physically too. I mean,
yeah,
Liv
true.
got that nasty bump on her head last week
Hmm.
from Stephanie. Um, and I just want to say I'm so glad that Liv is okay and will be able to make it to WrestleMania. Because this is a match I'm excited to see. I think they've built this up very well. I think that Liv and Stephanie have both, in their promos have a very strong showing. And I'm looking forward to this match a lot. It's one of my most anticipated for the weekend for sure. And I think, Stephanie, this is a great first WrestleMania opponent for her. Because Liv, I think Liv is at her hottest right now. I mean, hey, she just released a music video,
Mm,
and
true.
a song yesterday, or Monday, I believe. I forgot what day, but it's Liv is a great first opponent. You have all the Judgment Day stuff going on right now, and yeah, I think I'm excited for this match.
It'll be a good one. Next up, I'm gonna go through these next two a little bit quicker, just because I put them in meh because there's not. I either wasn't a huge fan of the build, but not. I didn't dislike it enough to put it in the ugly, or there's just not really much of a build to it. In that case, I have the 6 pack ladder match.
I have two
I
of
think
them.
it's gonna be a good match, but
Mm.
there really hasn't been any real build for it. I don't mind it. I don't think it needs a big build. And I'm not putting it here because I dislike how it's being handled, because it's 6 people. Um it's got some very good people in it. It got some people I'm very excited to see. Like, I am a little worried about Rey Mysterio being in a ladder match at his age. I am a little worried about
Yeah.
that. I pray to God his knees are intact at the end of it. I think this is you've got some great high flyers and some great, strong guys like Rusev, who are able to sort of have some balance in this match. I think this will be a great showing for Javon Evans. I'm really excited to see him take up this opportunity to, um, you know, make a name for himself at WrestleMania. The guy's so young and he's got so much potential. Really looking forward to that. Tell me, obviously, there's not much to talk about in terms of build, but talk to me about your feelings towards this match.
I love a good ladder match. So, I have memories of I know this is gonna sound so weird to people. They're gonna realize that they're old and we're younger.
Mm-hmm.
We're I'm 25 years old, you're turning 25 in a month.
Yep.
I It kind of reminds me of when I was in eighth grade, freshman year of high school, and they had WrestleMania 31 and 32. The main card start with a Intercontinental Championship ladder match, and those were awesome. People love those matches. So it's nice to see the IC title back in another ladder match.
Yep.
And honestly, I kind of prefer this than, I don't know, just a random like Penta versus one guy match. I feel like this is the best way to build a Penta match for WrestleMania because he's just such a sicko. Um, because what other champion would want to defend their title in a freaking ladder match against five other guys? I am worried about Ray for sure. He is just coming back from an injury too, so I'm like, why is he in a ladder match? But
Yeah.
um, the funny thing is, you talk about the build and everything. I told you this a couple weeks ago. So this match was like kind of announced out of nowhere, out of the blue.
Yeah.
Penta was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a ladder match," and everyone's like, "Sick," and everything. I wonder who's gonna be it. And then they already had a list of opponents. Well, lo and behold, most of the build, um, at least for Javon, Dragon Lee, JD, and Rusev, they actually won qualifying matches on WWE main event of all shows. So that was actually most of the
Wow.
build of the IC title match
On a
on
main event
WWE
for
main event.
WrestleMania. Nice.
Yeah, so I mean, which is cool for main event. It makes it a show that you're gonna be like, oh well, hey, this actually has something important. I'll check it out. So I could see why they did that. Um, but I didn't really need a big build and everything. I'm glad they at least had something like qualifying matches. So
Yeah.
it should be cool. This is one of the matches I'm excited for this weekend. Because again, I just love a good ladder match, and you have five, six high, oh, five, high flyers. In Penta, Javon, Dragon, JD, Ray.
I hope Ray's not a high flyer in this one. Please take care of
I
yourself.
If I had to guess, Javon and JD are gonna be doing the craziest stuff.
And
Especially
Dragon
JD
and I mean
and Dragon Lee.
I think Dragon Lee and
Um,
Penta are gonna have their fair share of cool moves as
oh
well.
yeah, and the thing is but I think the person that's gonna take the nastiest bump, if I have to guess now, is JD because I don't know if you remember
Yeah,
WrestleMania 40
yeah,
and
yeah,
War
yeah,
Games. I think he in those War Games 2023 and then WrestleMania 40, he took the nastiest bump. So if
yeah.
there's anyone that's gonna take a disgusting bump, it's probably him.
That'll be interesting. From one, let's get as many people on the card as we can match to another.
Oh, here we
And
go.
again, there's nothing wrong with that. This one I feel like is a more egregious case of, gosh, we have nothing for these people to do, so let's just put them all in the same match and hope for the best. The Fatal 4-Way tag team match for the women's tag team titles. I mean, you had to find somewhere for Nia, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Bailey, uh, Lyra. You needed something for them to do, and hey, why not? You want to give a platform to Lash Legend, who over the past year I think has done some great work, and I think that she's on a very upward upward trajectory. And like I said, you need something for Charlotte to do. You need something for Alexa to do. Bailey's got to be on the card somewhere. And why not throw the Bella Twins? So I don't mind this. I think this is probably one of the matches I'm looking forward the least to, just because it's one that was sort of kind of thrown together. I'm not. I know that there's been kind of a build to it, but I'm not really like it. It's good that they got all of them on the card, and I am a little excited to see who ends up winning this because I think each team, I mean, besides the Bella Twins, in my opinion, I think the other three teams are very viable winners. So I don't know, but that just goes to show the strength of this card. That this is one of the ones that's lower on my list, but I don't mind it. I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, I could not really care much about this match. If I had to pick, I think this would be the match I care about the least. But I'm
Yeah,
still actually looking forward to it because all these women here are fantastic competitors. I'm just happy to see Bailey in a match this year after she got screwed over last year.
yeah,
The interesting thing, this is at a build. It's been building for a while, at least with two of the tag teams, which is Irresistible Forces and Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. They've been
yeah,
feuding for quite a bit. And same with the Bella Twins. The interesting thing is, according to the dirt sheets, Meltzer and all those
oh
guys,
boy,
Nikki Bella actually isn't cleared for WrestleMania just yet. So the current match as is still subject to change.
TBD.
Um, TBD. So, the Bella Twins are still in the match as of now. Um, but it's affecting another match that could be happening on WrestleMania Sunday, which is Io Sky versus Asuka. The challenge has been laid out and everything, but we don't know if we're gonna actually get that match this weekend. I hope we do. But that all depends on if Nikki Bella is healthy. So we have one more SmackDown before everything, before the entire WrestleMania show happens. And both Raw and SmackDown wrestlers are gonna appear on the show from what they announced last week. So you know, it's we'll see. I hope that Nikki's cleared. I hope that we get Io Sky versus Asuka. I hope
Sure.
everything works out.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. We're like I said, we're doing this preview on Wednesday the 15th, so wanted to get this out a couple of days before WrestleMania, just so that I didn't put it out the day of. So who knows? By the time you're listening to this, uh, EO versus Asuka could be a thing. Nikki Bella could not be on the card. Who knows? But we're just going with the card as is. And then the last one that I have in meh, just because I mean, look, call me a hater, but I honestly didn't even know this was on the card until I looked it up yesterday. Like not that I didn't know. I forgot this was on the card until I looked it up yesterday. And that's AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch.
I knew you were gonna say that much. I knew
I
it.
just we've seen this already with the exact same stipulate. It's a regular singles match. We've already seen this before. And two, like I feel like this feud has been going on far too long. And credit to both of them because they both deserve to be on the card. Becky Lynch especially. But I don't know, man. I just I don't feel like this has been handled with the kind of care and the kind of like that this match deserves. I feel like this is a legend of the game in Becky Lynch versus, an icon of the 2010s in AJ Lee, and they're like they're going up against each other, and this really should be a bigger deal than it is. But like I said, we've seen this before. I'm just not really sure if the build for this is as good as it should be. I don't know. I'd love to get your opinion on this.
I don't care about this match at all. Actually, you know how I said the women's tag match was the one I least care about the least. I think this is the one I care about the least,
Okay.
because the thing about this match is it was the match I was excited for like 4 5 months ago, because I'm like, oh man, AJ Lee back in the ring against Becky Lynch is gonna be cool and everything. You know, it happened. I
Sure.
liked it. Elimination Chamber didn't mind and everything, but my God, do we have to go through this again with no stipulation too? Like if they had added at least like made it a no holds barred match or something like that, and I guess like you can't do a unsanctioned match and a no holds barred match on the same night, but still, it's like I don't know, man. Like I could care less, and it's not like the thing is I also like these two wrestlers, but the issue is also the build for it. I mean, AJ Lee hasn't even been on Raw, bro. She has not been on Raw.
Yeah.
She's like just like doing like interviews and everything, but she hasn't. They've done nothing to make you care about this match at all, which is a damn shame because like I feel like even if it's been done to death already, because you had the tag team match at WrestlePalooza, you had the War Games match at Survivor Series, then you
Yep.
had the Elimination Chamber singles match where she won the title, where AJ Lee won the title. It's like I don't know, man. It's like the issue of like Punk versus Rollins last year. It just has gone way too long and for no reason. And I don't know. I would prefer AJ facing off against some new talent at this point. Like,
Sure.
it sucks that like talent like Io Sky and well, Asuka's guaranteed a WrestleMania spot. It seems between like the tag team match and whatever. But it sucks, like there's so much like talented wrestlers like Julia and Tiffany Stratton, but they're on the other brand, so I kind of get that. But it just sucks like they're missing out on WrestleMania. We could be getting a fresh new matchup. Like even if making this a triple threat was a thing, it would have been cool. Or something. I don't know. Something new would have been nice here. I guess the issue would well, I mean you could put Becky in a singles match. I guess I don't know against who. This match doesn't even really need the Women's Intercontinental Championship, to be honest. I don't know why it's even on it, besides the fact Becky was holding it. So it's just, I don't know. It's not a match I really care about. I kind of did forget about this one too. Um, it just sucks, because like I said, I like both of these women. They're both amazing wrestlers. AJ Lee was one of my favorite wrestlers in middle school.
Yep.
I was all in on the AJ Lee hype and everything, and it just sucks. She's my least, the match I'm least excited for at
Yeah.
WrestleMania. It's just a shame. It really, really is just a shame. Um, but what I say is the worst build of WrestleMania? No, and we'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah. We've got a couple to talk about.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, I'm in the meh section for this one. I don't care about it.
It's not a
You know,
terrible build. It's just I don't like. I wanted to put in the mess section. I wanted to put ones where it's just like it's not that the build is bad and it's not like the match is bad, but just they haven't really like. I feel like I have a lot of different categories. Like the ladder match is cool, but they didn't really need a big build. That's fine.
hmm
The and then like um Jade Rhea again. Fine, like good, it'll be a good match, but build has been like I said, meh.
uh-huh.
Becky AJ. The match I think will be fine, but I just why do I care? Why do I
Yeah,
care?
exactly.
Um, and then the final one that I have in meh. This one I may have to put this one in ugly. I don't know. I don't know. I
Let's
really had a
see.
tough time, and that's the 6-man tag. Vision
Oh,
and Speed versus the Usos and LA Knight. Like, oh my gosh. And it's
I
on ESPN too as well. Like, I get it. I understand. Logan Paul's in it. LA Knight is in. Not LA Knight. I Show
They're
Speed is in it,
uh,
and I know Jey Uso is bit. He's a even though I think his bit has been done to death. He's very popular with a certain audience, and that's fine. But God, just like we're gonna get on to the whole um, celebrity involvement in WrestleMania, and I just think this is probably the best of a bad bunch. But that's not saying it's the best. It's saying this is not great, but the rest are pretty bad.
So this is our first disagreement of the day, I think, because if I would put this in my good category. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think they've been building this one actually pretty well. Um, I think that Speed has shown a lot of commitment, especially when he had LA Knight on his live stream, and
Mm.
LA Knight beat the crap out of him. For the hitting him with the brass knuckles.
Yep.
And I don't know. I like this feud. This is actually one of the feuds I'm really vibing with because I don't know, like and a lot of it has to do with Speed and LA Knight, like the Vision and the Usos I don't really care about in this feud. It's I If it was like LA Knight versus I Show Speed, I would have preferred that a little bit because, but it makes sense to have him in a six-man tag. But Speed's been very committed to this. Same with LA. Like they've both been great. They've been carrying this feud. The other, like I said, the Vision and the Usos, they're just kind of there. They're just kind of there to support each
Yeah.
guy. Um, but the way they started with Danhausen cursing Speed and all this stuff, it's been great, and I won't lie. I'm excited to see what Speed can offer in the ring. We've only seen him in the ring twice. Now, in the first time, which was the Royal Rumble, we didn't really see what he could do because it was more like a spot where, he eliminates Otis. He tries eliminating Chad Gable and I believe Ray, and then but the whole point of of his in ring debut was the fact that it was just to get speared by Braun Breaker and then thrown
Yep.
by Otis and have a cool moment. So it's like then the second time we see him in ring was for his show, Speed Goes Pro, and I thought he looked pretty good in that match. He faced a WWE PC wrestler named Anthony Luke. I checked out the match. I was like kind of curious because he posted about it. Randy Orton had trained him for 2 days, and for training for 2 days, I thought he looked pretty solid. So, in his third official match or second official match, because that other one was more like a tryout match. But I'll say third for his third in ring venture here. I think that he might impress us and everything, and we've seen some cool stuff. Like the fact he could jump that high is insane. I just want to point that
Yeah.
out. Like I'm really actually curious about this match. And I think this one will be a fun match. I would actually put this in my good category for sure. I see why it's opening. It's got some big names. I think it's going to be a great moment for LA Knight. Um, because this is the Logan Paul I Show Speed match. Although
Yeah.
Logan Paul, I think we're moving him up from celebrity wrestler to full time wrestler,
I
considering
agree.
he's a full time wrestler. Like if we call him a celebrity wrestler at this point, it's just a lie. He's there every week. He's wrestling every week, pretty much. He's a full time. He's working full time, so I respect that. And but Speed for celebrity wrestler, I'm excited. I'm very excited. You've got five capable wrestlers in the ring to hide any weaknesses, and he doesn't have to do much except some fun spots. So should be good. I like the feud.
I I see what you're saying, and you've convinced me a little bit. My only thing is, I feel like you look at the people in the match. Like, in my opinion, I think Logan Paul can probably be doing better than this. He was in a championship match at WrestleMania 2. That was 40, where he faced
Yeah,
Randy
2 years
Orton
ago,
and then I forget what he did last year.
AJ Styles.
Yeah, and then to go to I don't know. I feel like he could probably be doing something a little bit more up the card, a little bit more important. Um, I've never been a huge Austin Theory guy. I'll be honest. Him
No,
being in the Vision, I wasn't really vibing with that. He's a fine wrestler, but I think he doesn't really have the moxie. Doesn't really have the character. Speed. Hey, look, if he performs well on Saturday and does well, I am more than happy to be proven wrong and give him the credit the same way I hoped that people would do when Bad Bunny was in WWE and people were, a little bit not pessimistic, but they weren't really huge fans of him being at WrestleMania with Damian Priest, The Miz, and John Morrison, and then he ended up doing really well. So I'm really hoping that it's a situation like that. I'm really low on Jey Uso. I think his whole shtick has been done to death. I get it. It makes a lot of money. The kids love it. I get it. It's just never. It was for me for a little bit. I did like it, but interrupting matches to just yeet and do random stuff like that was I've never liked that.
I think you remembered me hating that so much too at war. I think I
Yeah,
called you the day after War Games, and then I was like, "Why is Jay
this is
Uso doing this in the
so
most
dumb,
dangerous match in
so
WWE?"
dumb. And then we've been talking about LA Knight grabbing that brass ring for so long, and I just feel like not that he's running out of opportunities or he's running out of time because I'm not saying that he's getting old or
He is.
I just well he is, but you know what I mean. Like it's not like I'm saying like he needs to do something immediately, but since his real rise to stardom and nearly winning Money in the Bank and all that stuff, and we thought, God, this guy is a guaranteed future main event world title winner. All this stuff, like he has the charisma, he has the in-ring ability, and he's just in matches like this. Like not, it's tough because I understand, he's on a WrestleMania card. That's good, but I just feel like he can be doing a lot more than this. I really would love to see him in a bigger spot than this. And I understand it's a big spot because you've got celebrities in it. It's on ESPN2. It's going to be watched probably by more people. I get it. But I just thought by now LA Knight would be in a much bigger spot on the card, personally. That's just my opinion, though.
Which is fair. I
But,
think you're being fair about that. He could be in a better position and everything for sure and everything, but I don't think he's in a bad position, like you said.
of course.
Um, and it does make sense considering he's been feuding with Division. You do have to kind of end that feud. I don't know if this will be the feud ender for LA Knight versus Division, but
I sure hope it is.
um, I do hope it is because yeah, there's a theme of the WrestleMania this year. There's like maybe four different feuds where you can say, "Man, it's just going way too long," and
Yeah.
LA Knight versus Division is one of those. It doesn't feel like it, but it is definitely one of those
Um,
because it goes
now
on
move.
since August. By the way, I should
Yeah.
mention that.
Let's move on to the ugly, in my opinion. I don't even know where to
Ooh.
start. I'm gonna start. God, um,
Do we
I'm gonna
save?
start.
Do we save
I'm
the
gonna.
best for last?
Yeah. I'm gonna start with the least ugly,
Okay.
and that's Seth Rollins versus Gunther. Just because, man, like this is one of those where the match itself, you put Seth Rollins and Gunther in a ring, magic is gonna happen, and I guarantee that that's gonna be a great match, and I'm
Mhm.
not gonna miss that. But why? What's the point? Like, give me a reason. Give the casual a reason to care about this, because you have so many people online going, you know, uh, does this mean that this is a retirement match for Seth Rollins? Gunther's been retiring. John Cena, AJ Styles. Is Seth Rollins next? That question's never really been answered. I hope I hope that's not the case. And while both of them needed something to do at Mania, I just feel like Gunther coming out of nowhere, putting Rollins to sleep, and then sort of hinting that he's working with Heyman, but he's not working with Heyman. But
Mhm.
I just, it's not that hard. It really isn't. You don't. This is one of the ones where you have to do the least amount of work, and I understand this is probably the singles match with the least amount of build. But I feel like it could have been handled a lot better too. Like I said, I'm very much looking forward to it, but I just haven't been a fan of how they've built this one up
It's gonna
personally.
be a good match. Um, I want because I do have things to say about this match. I just want to let you finish before
Yeah.
I kind of go over. I don't want to put this in ugly, to be honest. I kind of want to put it in a little box of its own called unfortunate build, or unfortunate timing, something like that. Because the
Yeah.
thing is about this match is that to talk about it, we kind of have to talk about the current situation going on and why it's Seth Rollins versus Gunther. Because the match was supposed to obviously not be Seth Rollins versus Gunther. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. This is based on the entire feud with the Vision. Um, it's only Seth Rollins versus Gunther because Braun Breaker cannot be cleared because he has a hernia. And this is why I want to put it under unfortunate because, you
Yeah.
have Seth Rollins come back, but you can't have him not be at WrestleMania. But also, the two guys that would make it the most sense for him to face are injured in Bronson Reed and Braun
Braun
Breaker.
Breaker.
Now, you could say, oh, well, you can have Seth versus Austin Theory or Seth versus Logan Paul, but he doesn't. I mean, he has history with both those guys, but like you said, exactly, they're one not exciting, and two, the entire reason the feud is happening, the reason why Seth wants to get revenge on the Vision, is because of the fact that Bronson attacked him. So,
Yep.
and then having both of those guys have injuries at the worst time possible.
True.
Hope both of them are doing well. So um, it's why we're at this point where we're having Seth Rollins versus Gunther, and then Gunther also was supposed to face Rey Mysterio allegedly. Now obviously we see Rey is cleared to wrestle, but I guess they figured that Gunther would better be slotted in this match because it's a
Yeah.
match where you could deliver that. It's a guaranteed banger for sure, and this is a match I'm looking forward to a lot.
Yep.
Because I don't really care about the build. It's more about like the fact they're gonna have a banger. And I will say, at least they gave a reason this past Monday on Raw, because it's it's just like a random reason. It's just the fact that Gunther's jealous, essentially, because he said that he was really mad that Seth was just going out there and acting like he's the best when Gunther thinks he's the best.
Yeah.
And Gunther was another big thing that I thought was pretty interesting, and I guess kind of feeds on fan reaction of the time, was the fact that Gunther did mention that when he was world champion, he was looking for the best challengers, and Seth is one of those best challengers, but he never bothered to go face Gunther while he was
Mm.
world heavyweight champion, because he would rather be a stooge for Paul Heyman. That's a interesting tidbit because I remember the biggest complaint that I had and many others had for the first World Heavyweight Championship reign of Gunther was the fact that he wasn't facing like the main event guys on Monday Night Raw. Like he wasn't facing Punk or Drew or Seth. He was and this is no disrespect to Damian Priest and everything because he was the World Heavyweight Champion too. The only main event guy he was facing was Damian Priest. Or and then the only other main event guy he faced was Randy Orton, who is on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And then there was Sami Zayn too, but Sami Zayn was more of a mid carder at that time. So it's like, none of the main eventers are going after him. And I did like that they brought that up.
Mhm.
It's such an interesting thing to bring up. So I do have a lot of hype for this match. Again, I
Yeah.
wouldn't put it in good, meh, or ugly. I would kind of put it in its own category because, this match happened as a result of unfortunate timing to certain
Yeah.
things to the story. And I'm willing to give it an exception. It's not really their fault. It's no one's fault. It's
Yeah.
just how it went.
Going to what you said, I feel like putting Ray in that 6 pack ladder match. He doesn't have to take any big bumps or anything, and he's not the center of attention where he can sort of, I don't want to say relax, but he's probably not going to be in a situation where he's at risk of re-aggravating whatever injury he
That's
had,
true.
the injuries with his knees and stuff like that. So it does kind of make sense when you think about it like that. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It is pretty unfortunate. I just, I was maybe being a little too harsh, but this is a match that not a lot of people thought of, but it's still a dream match. Like
Yeah.
putting two of the best workers, the best talents in the company right now, putting them against each other. That's always going to be a dream match. I just it deserves to have a build better than what it is. And I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm just saying, you know, even though it is unfortunate, I do think it's not great. Whether that's harsh or not is fine. I mean,
Mm.
maybe I am being a little harsh, but let's see what happens. I'm just excited to watch these two go up against each other
Oh, I just
on
realized this
Sunday.
weekend is ugly. This one is happening on Saturday, actually.
Saturday. Okay.
I
And
just
then
realized there's a
mm,
feud that you have on here that's ugly. Um, I don't know if you want to go over it next. I don't want to mess up your flow, but
no, no, go ahead.
do you have Damien? Sorry, Demon Balor versus Dominic as your
I
ugly?
do. I
Okay,
do. I'll explain myself before we
yeah.
start. The reason I put this one in ugly is for is because I am incredibly critical, and I will 100% admit that it probably doesn't deserve to be in here, but I am sick and tired of WWE shoehorning the Demon Finn Balor gimmick for WrestleMania or for big matches without having it be an actual reason. Like I understand they put he wants to you know beat Dom and he wants to be the demon and this that the other, but I looking back at his time in NXT like over 10 plus years ago now. One of the one of the main attractions with the demon gimmick or persona was he doesn't bring this out unless it's like he absolutely needs to. Like he needs to end a feud. Like he needs to but I feel like with this while the dissension between Finn Balor and Finn Balor and the Judgment Day has been brewing for quite a while, I feel like when it actually happened, it didn't feel as big as it probably should have because I feel like they took too long to do it. I feel like dissension was teased pretty early and then they waited way too long to finally have it, you know, come to something, in my opinion at least. I just there's been no mention of the demon. There's been no like the demon hasn't been a part of the feud, and I can't remember the last time that he wrestled as the demon. Can
You
you?
want to know when?
What?
Um, I think about 2 weekends ago, it marked actually 3 years that he has last since wrestled as a demon. The last time he wrestled as a demon was when he faced Edge at WrestleMania 39 in Hell in a Cell.
And that one, I mean, that one to me probably made a little bit more sense, but I
Yeah, a
wasn't
lot
even
of
that
sense.
hyped about him bringing out the gimmick just because it felt like two human beings. It felt like man versus man. You didn't need to. I didn't feel like the demon was really all that necessary. It didn't help that the match didn't end up being as good as it probably should have been because of Finn Balor getting his head cracked open. But I just felt I just feel like it's an issue between Finn Balor the man and Dominic Mysterio the man. You know what I mean? It's two
Yeah.
guys going at it and settling their differences. I feel like the demon really is a gimmick where there are very few times where you can bring it out. Like I feel like they handled it a lot better when he was in NXT and first coming up. Like when he became the demon at SummerSlam in 2016 just because he was going for the Universal title. That didn't really make much sense to me.
Can
There
I
was
interrupt for
there
a sec there?
Yep.
I disagree with you a little bit there because so you have to look at what the way he used it in NXT was pretty consistent with it. The reason why I used the demon there was because it was consistently how he was using it at NXT. He always used it every takeover. He would use the demon character. So I think that was for that one. That was just him like kind of following a bit of consistency. Now it's going to be different because there's not as many takeovers as there was pay per views at the time.
Mhm.
So he wasn't going to always be the demon, but it seems like, They consistently always had him at WrestleMania or SummerSlam. Just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, and I mean, there's been plenty of big matches that Finn's had where he didn't have to, you know, be this demon Finn Balor gimmick. There's been plenty of big matches that he's had in NXT and on the main roster. I think one of the biggest ones was the um, debut of the Fiend, right? Like
Yeah.
I think at the time I wasn't really following as closely as I am now to what was going on back in 2019, but I feel like that and maybe they were building to it. So please correct me if I'm talking nonsense here. But I feel like that probably the feud with Bray probably was a better time to pull it out. But then again, you don't want either persona to lose. I get that. I
They
don't
were
know.
supposed
It
to.
just yeah.
Um, so I think you're thinking of the wrong Finn Bray feud. Um, so the reason why they did the Fiend versus Bray from I mean the Fiend versus Bray, sorry,
The
the
Fiend
Fiend
versus
versus
Finn.
Finn, um, was because they needed to write Finn Balor off because he was going to get married, if I remember correctly, and then he wanted to move down to NXT a little bit. So that's especially when they were going to go up against AEW Dynamite, which was
Yeah.
debuting around that same time. So that's why they had written him off by getting demolished by the Fiend. When it was supposed to happen was 2017 when they had been feuding, and they were supposed to have that match between the Fiend versus the Fiend, the Demon
Sis,
versus Sister
yeah, Sister
Abigail, and
Abigail.
that sounded
Yeah.
so bad. We never got it because
Because Bray
Bray,
Bray was
Roman, and
sick or something like
JoJo,
that.
all from it. Yeah, they all got sick. That was the same show where we got
Kurt
Kurt
Angle is part of
Angle
the
in the Shield,
Shield. AJ
AJ
Styles and Finn
versus
Balor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
remember that.
And we still and he actually did wrestle as the Demon against AJ, so we still got the Demon. But yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm a little. In general, I feel like I'm far more critical about stuff than you are. You're more of the level-headed one. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like, I feel like I'm a bit too critical on this one. I do get what you mean, and as I'm explaining my reasoning, it does make more sense as to why they did what they did for this match because it's a big event. He's got to channel a bigger, you know, he's got to channel something inside him to finally beat Dom Mysterio, and
Hmm.
I do understand that. I do see
And
that side of it.
with the Judgment Day, so I'll give you my take on this. I don't mind that the Demon's coming back for this match because the whole point of Finn bringing out the Demon is because Dom and JD are such slimy, people, and same with
Hmm.
Raquel, Liv, and um, Roxanne. He knows how the Judgment Day works and everything. Um, so he doesn't want to beat Dominic Mysterio. He wants to embarrass Dominic Mysterio for
Yeah.
being the slimy little wrestler that he is and everything. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it PG, but um, you know. I could see why he brought back the demon. I think it's a good choice. It's been 3 years. They haven't really. They the only time they've used the demon in some form was as a joke when they had the Demonito puppet twice
Yeah.
when they had that mini feud of Mr. Iguana in AAA. But other than that, we haven't really gotten the demon at all besides
Yeah.
a puppet demon. It's been in the background. It actually kind of has been in the background a little bit. But now we're getting it back. A lot of people are hyped for it. It's a version of Finn that people love. And what better way to bring it than at WrestleMania? And not just that, I don't. He's not extremely overpowered as the demon, but he's like overpowered enough to the point where something like the Judgment Day interference probably won't affect him. So that's gonna be like he's gonna bring out his A game for that one and
Yep.
storyline. The only way they can beat him is by fireworks, apparently, by an act of
And
God.
a dodgy the dodgy ring ropes.
Yeah, dodgy ring ropes or just being Samoa Joe, who's the only person who's beaten the Demon clean.
Interesting.
And I mean I guess Edge beat him clean too, but I don't know.
That was a
It
weird match, to
well
be fair.
Edge was also in his vampire form for that match, so he was overpowered too. So
True. And
um,
now I've. Oh, unless you have anything to close
I'm looking forward
that
to this
section.
match. I
Yeah,
don't think I do agree the feud was taking forever and it was getting annoying to get to this point, but I'm just happy we're at this point, and I thought they did it
sure,
well.
sure.
That's all though.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Finally, we are down to the two that. Oh boy. I mean, part of me is
Get
just
this next
thinking,
one
do
up.
we end now and just so we don't have to talk about this? I won't lie, but we're gonna talk about in my opinion. Well, I hope it's your opinion as well. The two worst builds to WrestleMania,
Wait, if it's the next one that I think it is, I might have to disagree with you there. But go on.
and that is I really hope you don't disagree with me with this because I think this one's terrible. Sammy versus Trick.
I disagree. I don't not because I don't think it's I just think it's like mediocre. I think it's fine. I
I
I think Jade versus Rhea is a worse build to this. To be honest
I
with you.
think it's not that the match itself is bad or the build to it is bad. It's what it could have been.
Yeah.
Because look, I'm not a Sammy hater. I promise I'm not. There's
Mm.
times where it probably seems like I am, but I promise I'm not.
Damien Hogan.
I, like and I understand he needs to be on the card because he's big time. He's a lot of people love him,
And he
but
already missed last year too. You don't want to have him miss another year.
yeah, like listening to his promo on this past Friday just really confirmed that I am not a big fan of the build to this match because my thing is right one of the best builds to a WWE event full stop in the past 5 6 years was the build up to Stand and Deliver between Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams for the NXT title. Now look, that match, a lot of people said it was good, a lot of people said it wasn't that great. I'm in the section of in between. I thought it was fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was good for what it was. But you have the opportunity to rewrite the wrongs in that because the build up to that was incredible. The whole Trick being, sort of the Diesel to Mello's Shawn Michaels leading up to, and then Trick standing up for himself. Like the whole build for it was incredible.
Yeah.
And while the match didn't live up to some people's expectations, I can look past that because I thought it was awesome to finally see them go up against each other. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought this is going to be a match we're going to see again, but this time at WrestleMania. I just, that was always a thought that I had. And we had the ability for that to happen. And I just think, Sami Zayn, like, what are you doing here? Like, Trick earned his U.S. title shot, and then Mello lost the U.S.
Mm,
title.
mm.
I,
I
I,
have to
I,
disagree with you.
I don't know. I just thought it was a great opportunity to do this match again and have that opportunity to do it again. And I thought it would have been great on the main roster with Trick, how over he is, Mello, and how over his U.S. Open title challenges were. I thought, oh my goodness, this is gonna be even better than the Stand and Deliver match. But I don't know. I would love to hear an opposing viewpoint. Go ahead.
I don't know if I disagree with you that the feud is not that great. Um, actually, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it. I okay. So let's go step by step. You said one thing that was completely wrong, right? And that's Trick earned his title shot because the thing
Or
how
yeah, I'm
he
sorry.
didn't.
That's not what I meant to say.
Yeah, because the thing is he did it, and that's what kind of makes the feud kind of stupid because um
I forget
Nick
how we
Aldis was
got.
like, yeah, Nick Aldis was like, "Oh, Trick, you've been so over the fans and everything, so because of that, I'm giving you a WrestleMania match." And then the reason why Sami Zayn went after Carmelo was because Nick Aldis was like, "Is there any space for me at WrestleMania?" And he's like, no," which is stupid because Trick doesn't have a WrestleMania opponent, right?
Mhm.
So he didn't even specifically had a match or anything. He's just had a title match. I mean, he just had a WrestleMania match, so you could have easily put Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams without the U.S. title. That's what made it dumb. But I guess since Sami Zayn had the U.S. title now, then Trick's like, oh yeah, now I want to face Sami at WrestleMania. So the beginning of that feud was stupid, and then I'm sad because Mello, he's been killing it these last couple of months, and ever since winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal last year, he's one of the people who's benefited from winning it because he got more accomplishments under his belt. If anything, I think this should have been a triple threat match.
Mhm.
Um, but I do like what they're going for because they've been kind of teasing this for months. But Sami Zayn is gonna go heel. I think he's gonna go heel, and I think what's gonna happen here is that because you cannot deny that Trick Williams is way too over to be a heel. Everyone chants his name in the theme. Whoop that trick, whoop that
Yep.
trick. All
Yep.
that stuff. He is hot right now. He is arguably this batch of NXT rookies between Oba, Trick, and Javon. He is. I would argue he is just as over as Oba. Um, he's just as over as Oba. I think, and um all three of these guys have gotten over pretty well, and but Trick is like just like Oba, like superstar level. Where I think Javon is still a little bit behind them, but he's
Yeah.
not a bad spot or anything. It's just he's in a normal level for a rookie. Where the other him and Oba like just exceeded expectations, with their
Definitely.
presentation and everything. So I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna get a double turn, and I think the prospect of that's gonna be exciting to me. Um, because heel Sammy's pretty good, especially when I think everyone's kind of tired of him being the underdog. Um, because everyone knows he's awesome and he always he always gets the job done most of the time these days.
Mhm.
He's a WrestleMania main eventer. Is another reason why saying you have no spot on the card for Sami Zayn is stupid.
Yeah.
But I guess they don't have a spot on the card for Damian Priest, who's probably going to be wrestling at the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on SmackDown this week, WrestleMania SmackDown. Sorry, um, but
So dumb.
and I get it. Not everyone can make WrestleMania, but for Sami Zayn, it's like, come on, man, no, don't lie, don't lie,
Yeah. It
like.
is. It is pretty dumb.
It was. I would have loved a triple threat though. You had Carmella in here because I think I just hope they still have faith in Melo and his last U.S. title reign wasn't just, oh yeah. Even if he's like a mid Carter for life, like, you know, at least like make him like, make the card. I think the two people I am most disappointed in not making the Mania card this year have to be Melo, potentially EO, but Ilya Dragunov as well. I feel like you could fit him in here somehow. I don't know. If there was a multi-person match, I feel like the U.S. title is another match that you could have actually made a
Yeah. Yeah.
multi-person and
You're
make it
right.
make sense.
You're right.
They could have
I
made it
I
make
agree.
so much sense
I
because they
agree.
all have history with Sammy. They're all extremely, Trick's extremely over. Mello finally got over after years of not really being over. Elia's been amazing. Sammy deserves a spot at WrestleMania. I don't know. It's weird. It's not like there's that many multi-person matches. I think there's two, three, right?
Three.
Yeah, the six-man tag for you could have had one more and everything. I don't know. That's just me though.
Yeah. I definitely see where you're coming from. You got to find a space for Sammy. I definitely see it better as a triple threat than I do a singles match between Sammy and Trick because Trick deserves a spot, Sammy deserves a spot, but also Mello, Ilya, guys like that. Make it a fatal, whatever. Make it a
It could have
fatal
been a
four
fatal
way.
five-way too because Aleister Black beat Sami Zayn weeks ago also, and he has nothing to
Yeah,
do at WrestleMania.
yeah, yeah. It's a little bit frustrating. It's probably so difficult to really handle because you know when you're a part of creative, like you have so many talented people at your disposal, and there's only so much that you can really do.
Which is why I
So
like the fact that they
so yeah,
they
we'll
make
just
the SmackDown before. Sorry for interrupted. It's like why like the how they make the SmackDown before Mania important with the whole
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania SmackDown stuff. Because unfortunately, not everyone can make the card. Yeah, they can have pre-show matches and everything, but like I don't know. A lot of people say they want that back, but I remember everyone was sick of them when WrestleMania was like 8 hours.
True.
Um, but so making that SmackDown before Mania a bit more valuable. The last 5 years, I think it's been, or now this is year six. But the last 5 years, I think they've done a good job, with the Battle Royal on there, and then one other extra match. I feel like they
Mm-hmm.
should amp it up more, especially because and this is a topic that we can talk about, but it's gonna take forever. The amount of talent this is probably the like most stacked group of talent they've had in a long time, and the fact that you have former world champions like Tiffany, Damian, EO not making the card potentially or at all, for sure, is kind of crazy if you think about it. But it's also because it's that stacked when you have new rookies coming in and everything.
Yeah.
Um, so I do like that they make the SmackDown before that important. We only have two matches announced, which is the Battle Royal and the Wyatt Six versus DMF team match, which I'm glad we don't have to talk about in this show because if you want to talk more about feuds that go on too long, that's another one. Um,
And ones that I just they've gone on so long that I just don't really give that much of a crud about.
it's
To be honest,
yeah,
who
it's just
cares at this
bad.
point?
It's just so
All
bad.
right. You know what? I would rather talk about that than talk about this last match because look, JP, we've been talking for over an hour, and I know your views on this match. You know my views on this match. Let's just get this over with. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton.
Can I kick it off?
I'll just before you
Because
begin, I just want to say how disappointed I am and how disappointed I am in this match. Go ahead.
I want to kick it off because I I mean, I know you're disappointed in it, but I think I might have been angrier than you when this whole segment happened
Yep.
because I remember texting you being like, "What the blank is this?"
Mm-hmm.
what the hell is this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So let's go by the let's go this take the story like step by step. This has been a long podcast, but it's whatever. um, so we kick things off. Elimination Chamber. Randy Orton wins. We get we get Randy versus Drew at first. Cody Rhodes wins on the next SmackDown. He wins the WWE title back against Drew. Because Drew screwed him over at Chamber. We already know that part. So now we get Cody versus Randy, who I think everyone remembers that Night of Champions. They faced each other in the King of the Ring final, and it was a
Mm-hmm.
really good match too. That match was really really good. So we can get that out of the way first. I think match quality wise, this has potential to be good, right? Um, Story wise, they've had years of history. Back in 2008, Cody Rhodes um, attacked his partner, Hardcore Holly, to win the World Tag Titles with Ted DiBiase Jr., who's been freed somehow from his misdeeds lately, if you follow that court case. And they later team up. They with Randy Orton, they form Legacy. They dominate the Raw brand. Um, they cause mayhem. They punt the McMahons. They RKO Stephanie. Um, they go after they're so they're such a big stable that they force DX to come out and do a reunion, all that stuff. And then they break up. They have a triple threat match at WrestleMania 26, and Randy punts Cody in the head. They feud again in 2011 over the legacy stuff again. Randy destroys Cody's mask when he was undashing Cody Rhodes, all that stuff and everything. Um, and yeah, so you guys are probably like, okay, JP, why are you bringing this up and everything? So I told you the history of Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. Oh, not to mention in 2013 they also feuded with the Authority, and Randy was the reason why Cody got fired too.
True.
Um And then they had Randy versus Goldust, and you know what that led to, that awesome Goldust and Cody versus Shield match.
Mm-hmm.
So I bring that up because as you see, Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes have history with each other, and not just like oh, we feuded for a month and that's it. Like Cody Rhodes' career is like has Randy Orton tied to it so freaking much, to the point that even Dusty, even like the first month that Cody debuted was because of a feud with Dusty Rhodes, if you remember correctly, when they had that
Yeah.
Texas Bull Rope match and everything. From the beginning of Cody Rhodes' WWE career, they, they've been feuding. His first main roster in-ring debut was against Randy Orton, where he lost. Right? There's a there's a lot there. There's so much story. It might
And
not
this
feel
is
like,
this is the most complete version of Cody Rhodes you've ever got. Like this
yeah.
version of Cody Rhodes is nothing like his first stint in WWE. He is a superstar now. He went off, created his own company, did what he had to do, came back. He's faced everybody. He's
Mhm.
beaten everybody. Like this is two superheroes going up against each other with a mountain of story behind them.
Yep. So they from the day Cody debuted to now, they've been feuding. They've been friends. They've had so much history. They've had many great matches of each other. So, the story should be they have all this history. Let's play on that. Let's play on the fact. Yeah, have Randy turn heel. Perfect. That's fine. Everyone loves heel Randy Orton. That's the best Orton. You know, um, they could play on the fact that it's about family legacy. They're both from wrestling families that have Hall of Famers. Both of them have legendary fathers that are both WWE Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the obvious thing would be to do that. Nope, that's not what they did at all. So now we go to SmackDown 2 weeks ago. Um, and Cody Rhodes, or sorry, let's go to Raw. Cody Rhodes has a whole talk with Stephanie McMahon about, how things are dangerous now, how things have changed, all this stuff. So then at the same time, Randy Orton gets a phone call. There's someone that's been calling him and everything. And, um,
Ugh.
you know, I think the implication there would have been like, oh, you know what? It's Shane McMahon. And honestly, if even if they did the whole thing and it was with Shane, at least it would have made sense because it's two guys jealous of the Rhodes legacy now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So SmackDown comes. I think a lot of people were expecting Shane McMahon or even Kevin Owens. I saw Kevin Owens as another guest and everything. So two two guys that would have made perfect sense for the story. Two guys that would have made sense for them to get into Randy Orton's head and be like, yeah, no, you gotta destroy Cody. You gotta bring back the WWE Championship gold to the Orton family. And instead, the guy that convinced him to do it was Pat. I have no history with Cody Rhodes at all besides calling his matches McAfee.
Just why? Just
And
why?
on top of that, the whole story of this, you want to know the whole story of this, guys? Is that, yeah, the product sucks right now. I'm tired of seeing two guys wrestle in a 45-minute Iron Man match. Um, and since then, the last 2 weeks, it's been like, oh, Pat McAfee sucks. This story sucks. This story, like, they're being very meta about it, about how much this story sucks, and they're playing it as if it's supposed to suck, but really, it just sucks. Like you can't, and that's what makes it frustrating because the story just sucks. It sucks. It's terrible. Like you can't. There's no other like thing. They can make it meta all they want. Making it meta to make it less bad. It is
No.
one of the worst builds to WrestleMania I've seen. At least last year with the whole Travis Scott thing and everything. At least he wasn't in the build of it. It still sucked. But I would argue this is worse because now
I
you're
agree.
including Jelly Roll into it. And why is Jelly Roll in this? I don't know. Because Jelly Roll got RKO'd by Randy Orton. So this is one of the worst ways of celebrity involvement I've ever seen. Apparently it comes from up top. Ari Emanuel, the owner of TKO, he apparently forced on this because of the ticket sales and everything, and it's been terrible. It's been horrible. It's one of the worst decisions I've heard. I don't know if it's Triple H's fault or Ari's fault. Whoever's fault it is terrible. It's some of the worst TV I've ever seen. It is the worst WrestleMania main event angle I've seen since probably. I don't know. I don't even know. I can't name a worse one than this. Maybe Roman Brock at 34.
Yeah,
It's that
I
bad.
mean, it is just absolutely. It's. I hate using this word. It's just brain rot.
It's slop. It's
It
slop.
really is. Like it is again. I feel like this is very similar. I I feel like there's a running theme with a few of these matches where they're very good on paper. It's not that hard. Just make them like um Rollins and Gunther. Like I understand it's an unfortunate situation that has them going up against each other, but again, it's so simple. They're two like that one's a little different. I know because they don't really have history with each other, but it's so simple to make that a compelling match. The same way that they literally like Ari Emanuel, you did not have to do any work to make this compelling. You had nothing to do with this. You got gifted an incredible WrestleMania main event on a silver platter and you still found a way to mess it up. This was you could not have been given an easier path to WrestleMania than this. Two guys with immense history, Randy Orton, who the fans now love when he turns heel. Like you could have even, the thing is, even if they turned Cody heel instead and finally turned him into Homelander or something like that, like I would have been convinced more, or I would have been more convinced than I am about what's going on now, because you've put us in a situation where everyone's going to watch this match. Everyone's excited to watch them in the ring because it's Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. But Pat McAfee, like I
Can I make it? Can I interrupt for a sec
yeah,
because this is relevant and this is gonna make you angry actually. One of the biggest things is that this doesn't really feel like a feud between Cody versus Randy. It feels more like a feud with Cody versus Pat, right?
yeah,
Would you agree?
yeah.
So I interrupted you because I'm scrolling on Reddit right now, and Cody Rhodes just showed up on Pat McAfee's set and destroyed his entire set before taking back his WWE title that Pat stole.
I was literally before we started recording. I checked the Pat McAfee show. Nothing was going on. They were talking to Iman Shumpert. I turn it off, and that happens.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, unbelievable. But
Sorry,
the
I
thing
just feel
is,
like I need
too.
to interrupt because it's pretty relevant to what we
Yep.
were talking about.
The thing
I
that
feel
took
like I
me
can
over
tell
the
you.
edge was last Friday, in my
Uh-huh.
opinion. The whole promo, the whole WrestleMania tickets are now 25% off. This and the other, right? Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, Pat. And I know I joked with you about, Pat McAfee did such a great thing. I joked with you about it
Yeah.
because I thought it was funny. But also, Pat McAfee just has no. The thing, I won't lie. Like, I thought he was pretty interesting when he was on the commentary and when he started making his own podcast. I thought it was pretty interesting at first. The guy has no freaking talent.
He's a
He
talented
only.
punter. That's
The.
it.
Huh?
I mean, I
He's a
wouldn't say he's
talent.
not talented. He
But
was
but
pretty good
but
in
my thing
ring.
is he has no idea what he's doing because
Yeah.
I look at that promo on Friday. And one of the great things about promos is that even if two wrestlers are arguing with each other, they let the person speak and they let their words have meaning. You know what I mean? It's not like they say something. It's not like CM Punk says something hard hitting and then Roman Reigns immediately fires back with something. That's not how promos work. That's how
Hmm.
good promos work, at least. But
Yeah.
every time um, Cody Rhodes says something, immediately Pat McAfee has to get the last word.
Uh-huh.
It's like he never was taught how to cut a promo before.
No?
He's so. I don't mean to say that he's completely talentless. He's a great NFL punter, and look, he's had a lot of success, and his podcast has done well for a reason. I don't
And
think
he's
there's
pretty good in
no
ring too.
reason. And yeah, he's had some decent times in the ring. Okay, and look, his podcast got big for a reason. People
Mhm.
obviously want to hear what he says. But how are you in WWE so long? You watch some great promos get cut from the booth, and you have no idea how to talk. You have no idea how they even work. It just made like that's probably one of the smallest parts about this feud that angers people, but that made me so frustrated. It just proved to me that this guy has no idea what he's doing. This guy, and look, maybe Pat McAfee is just playing a character and secretly he hates what he's doing. That's what I hope is the case. I hope that this really isn't him and he's just doing it because his boss told him to do it. But if this is how he actually is, man, this is a freaking nightmare, dude.
Can I be honest too? We
Mm,
know he could cut a good promo too because he did it. He cut a great one last year against Gunther. My issue is, I think, is that he doesn't also have much to work with here because and this is where people want to blame Ari, and I blame Ari, but I also blame Triple H too because it's like, why, like make a good story out of it. Why are you doing this meta BS of, oh yeah, everyone's saying this story sucks and everything, everyone acknowledging the story sucks, and then it still sucks. Like, it's making Pat has nothing to work with. He has nothing to work with. None of these guys have nothing. The only thing that any of these guys have anything to work with is these guys suck. Like this feud sucks. Pat
yeah.
sucks. Um, like I don't know, man. It's like it's
Like if
just
I'm Pat,
dumb. It's just so
I
stupid.
can't be proud of my work. If I'm Pat McAfee, I can't be proud of what I'm doing right now.
No,
It's terrible.
and
Like
I
the
think it's worse when you consider I'm sorry I keep interrupting you, but
no.
I think it's worse when you consider the fact that this is obviously also leading to a match between Cody and Jelly Roll versus Randy and Pat. We don't talk enough about Jelly Roll too. His inclusion in this is just so stupid because they're acting like Jelly Roll is this longtime friend of Randy and Cody's that has been there for centuries and everything. When he only tag teamed with Randy last year, we doesn't have that much history.
Like imagine this, but Randy beats the crap out of Gold Dust, right?
Yeah,
Imagine that. Like they just like that. At least in that case, that's Cody's brother. It's
mhm,
personal now. We brought family into this. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But Jelly Roll, dude. Oh my god. Because the
Freaking
thing is
Jelly
Jelly
Roll.
Roll's not that bad in the ring, and it's not like
No,
I hate him. No, I think he's fine. But what does he or Pat McAfee have to do with this match, man? Anyway,
Jelly Roll had the
I'm
perfect opportunity. Like he already had a perfect match set up for him, which was Miz and Kit versus him and Danhausen.
yeah. But anyway, I, before I get even more upset and let this ruin my day, JP, I'm gonna close discussion on that match there because God. All right, those are our thoughts and opinions. Let me know if you think we're speaking sense or nonsense. I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments section. Uh, Thank you so much for joining me, JP. I very much appreciate you joining me for this WrestleMania preview.
Thanks for having me.
And awesome, man. Again, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for lending us your insight. I know that you're one of the most knowledgeable people on professional wrestling that I know. So it's always great getting to chat with you about the business and getting to chat with you about this. So until next time, thank you guys so much for listening. Please be well, and I will talk to you in a bit.